anyway, this huge storage system came through. Currently, right now, as of an hour ago, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Texas, Louisiana, California, and Oklahoma are all states experiencing power outages. And that is 10,000 up to 40,000 homes. And then a whole bunch of other states have spots of it as well. It's amazing. But what happens? You know, what do? You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any power. And that is a freaky moment. That is a scary position to be in. And we've got the solution. And guys, it's from EcoFlow. Tonight, this is super important. Stay with us because you're looking at the newest, most advanced power station in the Delta line that EcoFlow does. They're not only the #1 power system here at HSN, but they're the #1 in the country. So you're getting the best of the best. And most importantly, you're getting 100% exclusive configuration. And the price you're about to see, or now you can see on your screen, is ending tonight. This is the last airing. It is the last chance. It is the last time. And at midnight, the price that we had over the weekend, and we extended a few more days, is now coming to an absolute halt. And it will go up to its full price, if you get the solar panel version, of almost $1,200. So that's just not $5 and you don't care. That is a massive several $100 jump to what the price will be at midnight tonight. All right, so what are your options? Let me give them to you. First one is everybody can get the EcoFlow. Again, most advanced model in the Delta line. Justin, my guess, will get all into what makes it so great because this is a really, really fabulous model. You can choose, do I want to get the solar panel? I recommend, if you can swing it for a little bit, a couple, bucks more, get the version with the solar panel. That means you're basically never without power because once the sun comes out, you're going to have power and it just keeps going and going. And everybody also gets, I love this, they included a trolley for the first time. So not only is this pretty lightweight to carry around, but it's even easier and the trolley completely collapses so it's easy to put away. So your choices are, do you want all 3 pieces or do you just want to get the EcoFlow and the trolley? So there's 2 options here tonight. By far, the most popular is, yes, you want the solar panel. Now, let's do value, and I promise we'll get into all the details in just a second. If you were just to get this Delta, again, latest models, newest one they've done, most powerful in the Delta line, you would spend right now $699 to get this. So $699 for the Delta. You would spend another $349 for the solar panel. Now, a couple days ago, we had extra panels available, and that's on sale. They're normally over $400 for just the solar panel. So that's another $349. And the trolley is $129 because it's built to take it. All EcoFlow is. So all of that would equal almost $1,200. So this is kind of crazy. For $70 less than the normal price of the Delta, you're getting a $129 trolley and a $349 solar panel included for $70 less than just the Delta at its full price. So that's why it's been so popular. But again, tonight is it. It's the last time you can get it. And our today's special that we extended will come to a close. Justin Hyatt's joining me. And Justin and he's been doing electronics for a long time. In fact, you're getting ready tomorrow morning to go to the big electronics convention.
Yeah, the biggest in the world.
Biggest, you should get a lot of good stuff, stuff out there.
Yeah.
But really, when you go out there, EcoFlow is a big deal because in a matter of a few years, their quality is so good, they become #1 in the country.
#1 in the country in one of the fastest growing categories really in tech. You know, we think about the just innovation of batteries. What we're seeing in the way that they've evolved for vehicles, they've evolved for what we think of for generators.
Great
and
point.
so I love to even go back to talk about that because when we first launched the Delta 1300 here at HSN, in fact, we launched EcoFlow here at HSN, this was $1,300.
Wow.
The second version was over $1,000. This is under $1,000. So when you think about just, I think, evolution, it's not a lot of times where things get better and better and more affordable. But why does innovation happen? It happens out of the demand for something that we need to be better and easier. When we would think about home backup power, it was always gas and or propane. EcoFlow said, well, wait, there can be a better way. You know, the problem with that is it also eliminated for everybody who couldn't own a gas or propane generator, what would you do? So that's what we love, that this is as easy and simple for every single person, and 99% of the time you're gonna be using it for all the fun stuff, but for that 1% of the time where you wanna fall back on something that you can rely on, that's what EcoFlow has become. That's why we have become the #1 power brand here at HSN and the #1 power station company in the United States. My dad literally, right before I came out here, sent me a little picture. He's tailgating in the backyard.
Who is?
With his little EcoFlow. He's got the television outside. He's watching the Dolphin game, which I'm hoping that maybe we won. I don't know. Playoffs right there, but I'm not sure. But doesn't matter. It's those moments where you say, that's why I love my EcoFlow. That's why I got it. And then when those lights go down, when the power goes out, and you want, again, something where you feel like, I can do this, that's why you love this. But you're getting the latest and greatest, and what makes this the latest and greatest is that, again, when we think about innovation, this is the 3rd generation. When I showed you just one touch of a button to turn it on, that's it. When we think about gas and propane generators, and I've got one right there in the front, we'll show you the whole entire walkthrough of what it takes to get that going and started. All I need to do is press one touch of a button. Right here, you're going to see every bit of information as well on that display. It's going to tell you how much power you have. It's going to tell you your wattage. It's also going to tell you how much time you can run any of those appliances. So that brings me to the next point. What appliances can you run? 99% of your appliances can be run from something that weighs 28 pounds, that's whisper quiet, 30 decibels, that you can run where? Inside your home. So again, when we think about even just comparing different alternatives, which one would you rather? When it's raining outside or it's 30 below in Minnesota, where we're seeing these just crazy storms right now up north, or would you rather one where you can just take it out of the closet, roll it out of the closet, and then press one touch of a button, and then have power to all those different appliances in your home, like your light, like your fan, and then even the big stuff like the full-size refrigerator.
Full-size fridge, guys. And again, this is what happens. It starts to storm out, all your lights go out, and what is the first thing you think of is, oh my God, when is the power coming back on?
Yeah.
And then as the hours tick by, you're like, oh goodness. You're trying to call the electric company, hey, when? You're trying to figure out, you really start to get that panicked feeling. And I will tell you, if anybody's gone through a natural disaster, and we've got slammed with it recently this last hurricane season, there's nothing more unnerving, frightening, and quite frankly, I think just isolating. You feel so isolated because you know without power how many hundreds of dollars in your fridge of meat is going to have to be thrown out. Without power, you can't get your cell phone working. Without power, you can't even put a dumb light on. And just having a light on makes you feel better. You'll be the one house that actually is lit up versus all the other dark houses in the neighborhood. And this is what everybody does. And really, we've all learned from this. Everybody has been reactive. Something happens, and you know what you'll do? I'm going to go up here up front. Well, wait, I do want to show the fridge. Sorry, I'll stop.
I almost did the same thing. I want to go to that too.
I'll tell you, I get on a roll when we get to this because I know firsthand, like so many of us, how important this is. But this is one of the big moments. Why?
Well, I mean, look, we can talk about this. One of the things I love presenting this with you is because both of us are, we might present this. We're customers. We're users of EcoFlow. I know your husband uses it and you use it.
We have too.
But we love this because this is what we all need. You know, I always say we're all very different, but we're all very the same too, because we all need food, we all need water. So when we think about our full-size refrigerator, again, when that power goes out and we still don't have power at home, I've got 6 AC outlets, 3 of which are 3-prong. In 2 seconds, now I've got power back to my refrigerator for my milk, for all of the perishable goods that I might have, my eggs, and all of the frozen stuff. Because eventually, you know, we think about the things that'll last a little bit longer, our frozen foods. We think about as well, maybe it's a secondary refrigerator. This, in 2 seconds, to run a full-size refrigerator is amazing.
Well, let's stay here for 1 second, if you don't mind. Think about the last time we went to the groceries. This is what a nerd I am. I was at the groceries the other day, and I walked out with like 3 little plastic bags, and it was almost $100, and I was like, oh my gosh. So think about what is in just your freezer and just your refrigerator right now. I don't want you to even go past that. If it shut off and you lost all of that, I would bet you'd be darn close to paying for the cost of this configuration tonight. I really do. When you think about how much meat costs, and if you buy a lot of, oh my God, I even bought like deli meat. I couldn't believe how expensive it was. Do you know I bought a box, a little thingy, container of just fruit pieces, and it was like $7. But if you add up everything in your freezer and everything in your fridge, I bet you if you lost all of it one time, it would almost pay for our EcoFlow tonight. And I think just that alone is so worth it. The other thing I was going to dash up front is this thing to me is a nightmare. And I'm going to explain my personal story because we have 2 EcoFlows. We have a little place up in Michigan, and we have a place down here, a little place down here. I only live in little places. But power is so important. I wanted to feel secure, and I didn't want to be reactive. I'm proactive. I've done this show enough. I know what this is all about, and we have 2 EcoFlows. My husband has had, and we do have, a gas-powered generator. I never touch it I don't know how to work with it. It's too heavy. I cannot physically move it. It is so heavy. It's just everything about this is a nightmare for me. And in a minute, I'll share my husband's hack. We actually hack our EcoFlows, which is really, I think, the smartest way to do it. But this to me is a no-go.
Yeah.
So if you've got grandma, grandpa, dads, older people in your life, and there's no, they want to live on their own because they're refusing to move or whatever, absolutely, I think for your peace of mind and for their safety, you want to get them today's special. This to me is, it doesn't make any sense, especially after you've gone through a horrific weather incident, not to have an EcoFlow in your home. Why would you risk it? Because we have to have power, and for some people, it's life-saving.
Well, without a doubt, look, after 6 years of doing this, a lot of our reviews are stories. They're your stories that you've told us. Doesn't matter where you read these reviews. We've got tons of phenomenal reviews on hsn.com for all of the other EcoFlows that we have. This is brand new, so this doesn't have any of our new reviews. But when you start to read them, a lot of them are talking about, we talk about reliability on our medical devices, CPAP, nebulizers, whether it's dialysis, oxygen machines, keeping the medicine cool. My sister, who's type 1 diabetic, I talk about that a lot because, these aren't things that we just think of, maybe we have to start to plan because, look, living in Florida, we know we have hurricanes. So there's going to be at least, when you think about adding up all the different days, a week, 2 weeks that we could be out of power. Yeah. We need to make sure that insulin stays cool. Now look, maybe if you're reliant on all those other types of things, especially even CPAP machines, even if it's just the 5-hour, 6-hour, 10-hour moment where you're out of power, and when we come back, I want you to think, you start to think, is it worth it for me to drag out the generator, to bring it outside, to get it ready? Is it working? Is the gas, maybe we don't have gas, we have to run and get gas. When you look at the video and just see how easy it is to just place it in the kitchen, do the everyday tasks, have the blender, feeding the kids. When the kids kind of just, there's so many different things I can even think about, even just growing up where we would go through hurricanes. When you can have everybody feel comfortable and settled, sometimes, what would feel scary to most people, all of a sudden it's not because you have the creature comforts. We were talking about the light and the fan. When you have a light and a fan and you have the refrigerator, all of a sudden that whole experience, it's not as scary as it could have been. Right. And we always think, well, the generator, because, well, the generator is really powerful. That's the only thing that I can rely on. Not anymore. This right here, these numbers represent exactly how much power this can run. So that says 3,300 watts. This has to be 20 feet away from your home. This needs what? It needs gas. And guess what? During those preparations of getting ready for storms, these go very quickly. And when you run out of this, you have no way of running your generator. But with your EcoFlow, I can go ahead and get this connected to what? My solar panel. So now we've got true independence. We have renewability. So even when I need to refuel this, I can do it by the power of the sun without paying another cent. Here's the other thing I want you to see. You know what? One touch of a button for this. This, I'd say, well, one touch of a button, except for, by the way, this is my generator that was 3 feet underwater because I could not get it up to my house because it had to stay down. I have stairs up to my house. This had to stay in my garage. The battery was dead. I couldn't get it going. The generator flooded. So the battery was already dead. I couldn't do the push start. But then you've got what? Well, you think I'll do the pull crank. This pull crank wasn't working. You start to think about all these things. When you think about them? When it's too late. Because you thought, I'm going to get that out. I'm all ready. I'll get gas. You don't want to fall back on this. You think about, I wouldn't get my grandmother a generator. I would get her an EcoFlow. Here's the other thing. 2 AC outlets. I've got 6 on this. When this, even if it was running, you see this little LED? That's not telling me much information. This LCD display is going to tell me every single thing. It's going to tell me how long it's going to be able to run for. It's going to tell me my percentage. If this is outside and it's almost running out of power, I'm going to have to be outside. With this, I can connect it to my app and actually see via Bluetooth what the percentage is. I can control everything about this. So, the other thing too is there's no USB-C ports. There's no USBA ports.
Nothing modern about that.
I'm not plugging in my small electronics because when it comes to this stuff, when it starts to run out of gas, it kind of peaks in power. It's not pure sine wave. So it can actually destroy your electronics, your TVs, your phones, your computers, whereas your pure sine wave technology, which is exactly what this is, your Delta 3, it's only giving whatever electronics are plugged into it the amount of power that it needs.
That's great.
The other part is 30 decibels, whereas your generator, we all know the sound of a generator. We also know that you can't run this inside, whereas you can run this inside. So you start to just kind of combine, and I know we're going to kind of segue to, we're not necessarily anti-gas or anti-propane.
Yes.
This just isn't for everybody. This is, but I know you've used your hack, which I know a lot of us have to use
this is a
this
really
too.
clever hack he did. And again, I'm not dealing with the gas, so I'm just thrilled I've got my EcoFlow in both places. If something happens, he's not around, I've got my EcoFlow. I just know in my heart of hearts, I'm going to be okay, and that I'm going to not be scared in what could be a very scary situation. But here's his hack for everybody. So he's got the gas powered. He decided he wanted to go up north to our place up there and work off grid. We have a place to live. He was just on our property up there. So he decided he was going to go for 3 months, and he took an EcoFlow with him, and he also had one of our generators. Here was his hack. Now, my husband is a software program analyst, and he spends his entire day on his phone, on his computer, and he had to have a light on, of course, right? So he needs all the creature comforts. He was in his little teeny trailer. So what he did was, when the EcoFlow would start to get low, he would go out, hook it up to our gas generator, and power it up for about 45 minutes. He'd get this completely powered up, and then for the rest of the day and all night long, he would live off the quiet little EcoFlow. So what was great is if you run this 8-10 hours, you're gonna run out of gas pretty fast, okay? But every day he would use it for 45 minutes. So we still had gas in the generator at the end of the time he was up there, because all he was using it was to refresh the EcoFlow. We do the same darn thing down here in Florida. So we do have a backup system. When the big hurricanes were hitting, I went to just get gas in my car. I stood in line for hours, and people were desperately trying to fill up a ton of these. And guess whose family wasn't there? Me. My husband and I were not there filling up 10 of these, because you know any hurricane's going to hit or any natural disaster, you don't know how many days you're going to be out. I mean, think about the people in North Carolina, and God bless you all who are affected by that. First off, we get a warning.
Right.
It's like you're on a train track, and the train's gonna hit you, but it's coming really slow. So at least you can be prepared to get hit, I guess, the best way possible. It doesn't make much sense. But in North Carolina, you completely surprised, completely taken off guard. Who would have ever thought that would have happened what it did in North Carolina? It was devastating. So those people weren't even prepared. We get a chance to get out and get prepared. They weren't prepared at all. So if you have an EcoFlow, that's one of the worries, that you're like, I'm ready, I'm okay. And we never know when it's gonna happen. This crazy ice storm, it's all over the place now. Remember, I listed, there's 100,000, 200,000 people out there in Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Kentucky is out. Illinois has power outages right now because of that big winter storm. Were you ready for it? When your heat goes out, you know how fast it gets cold? Like down here, if it gets hot in our houses, we're gonna be okay, we'll live. But if it gets cold, you literally could freeze to death, right? We're not gonna heat to death necessarily, but you could freeze to death. Guess what? This is even gonna work on that blanket, that heater blanket. It's gonna work on a small heating system. Do you know this works on a portable AC system as well? Like, how amazing is that? But it's all about being prepared and being ready. All right, Justin, I'm gonna dash over here one more time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, when Justin and I were on with this over this last weekend, we had the extra solar panel available. It is now sold out because I don't see it out here, okay? So I think it's completely sold out. The only way now to get the solar panel is to get it in our special configuration tonight, okay? So your first choice is the EcoFlow. And remember, this is $699 by itself. And I will tell you, it's worth every last cent. I know it's expensive. I know it's not a $20 item, but use our FlexPay. I'll explain VIP financing in just a second, but it is 100% worth every penny you put into this. We also have 5 FlexPays. If you just want to use a major credit card, you pay it off in 5 months, you're good to go. So the first configuration is this and the solar panel, which now means you're going to have continuous power, and you get the trolley. You can get that option right now tonight instead of almost $1,200, we're at $629.99. All right, now it's also free shipping, by the way. Or if you just want to get the trolley and the EcoFlow, you can do that, which is fine if that's all you want. Although the smarter decision for me is always get the solar panel included, because then you literally are not without power. You don't have to figure out how I'm going to recharge this, because this will keep this charged up and charge it for you. So that's your decision tonight. This EcoFlow, as I mentioned, is $699. For $70 less than the price of this at full price, you're getting the $349 solar panel, and that's even on sale at our price. And you're getting the $110 $129 trolley included. So for $70 less than what you'd normally pay for this, you're getting hundreds of dollars of extra bonus goodies. And just as a quick reminder, this is the last and final airing where you can get these prices. They will go up at midnight, either it sells out or it goes up, and when it goes up, it's gonna go up to almost $1,200 for that configuration I just described. You wanna do it now. This is your last chance. Also, you can't put it in your cart and think it's a safety zone. You have to completely check out. Our systems, if someone's actively buying it, will take it out of your cart if it's sitting there and put it into the cart of someone who's actively purchasing it. So that's not a safety zone. You have to literally check out to guarantee you're going to get it. But you've got to do it now, because if you wait till midnight, the price is going to go up to $1,200. It's almost 50% higher just because you waited for a few hours. And that's a lot of money. Like, I don't want to have to spend that. I still would if that was my option. I love EcoFlow. But if I don't have to, I'm buying it right now. All right, Justin.
I was going to say, you could almost use that to buy a second
system. You could, yeah, you literally could get a whole second system for what the price is going to be in a couple of hours tonight. Yeah, that's some good math right there.
Yeah. And I'm not good at math, but I know that. Yeah. You were talking about being cold. Yeah. You know, when we're cold, especially if you've ever been, you know, at some of these, you know, ski resorts, or if you've ever just been cold somewhere and you're thinking, I could really go for a hot cup of cocoa, right? There's a reason, because, well, you can warm yourself from inside. That's one of the best ways, right? We think of getting some coffee, or we wrap ourselves in a blanket. Well, how do we cook food with our EcoFlow? How do we use that? You can use your air fryer, you can use your induction burner, you can use your full-size microwave. So we're showing you a light and a fan. We showed you how to keep everything cool. But what about cooking food? I've got an air fryer right here. I'm sure you've probably picked up one air fryer here at HSN. This is one of my favorite appliances, set to 370 degrees. I am now cooking food inside of the kitchen without gas, without propane, using my EcoFlow. And here's the thing I want you to see. I'm going to actually turn this display so you can see this. It's going to tell you exactly how long I can run it for, but it's also going to show you the wattage. Now, I can go all the way up to 2,700 watts. So when you're even thinking, I want to kind of compare apples to apples of, you know, the power output of a generator to the EcoFlow. This is roughly about 2,700 watts of power that weighs 28 pounds. It doesn't need gas or propane, whereas that big gas generator right there is about 3,000, a little over 3,000 watts of power. So virtually almost identical, except that weighs nearly 80 pounds without the gas, without the propane. It needs to be outside. It's extremely loud. It's hard to use, whereas this, I can put on my kitchen counter, and now I'm cooking food for me, for my family, and then or heating myself up. I'm just gonna go ahead, I wanna just hit power off. I'm gonna actually just go ahead, come over here, Suze, to the microwave, because when we think about all the food that we had even in the refrigerator, all the frozen food, typically what would we do? We take that out, we throw it right here, because it's very easy and simple. Just set this to go ahead in 30 seconds. So now think about everything we've done. We've got our light, we've got our fan, we used our air fryer, all these different appliances that you use what? Every single day. Right. Whether it's the air fryer or induction burner, whether it's the coffee maker, whether it's the blender, which you've seen in those videos, all those different things. I want you to think, like, when we pull the plug from the home, what's that one thing you want to go to? We talked about it. Yeah, maybe it's the refrigerator. We're thinking now food, because what sustains us? Food and water. What sustains food and water? Power. And when we think of power now, we think of EcoFlow. It's kind of our tagline. Power your life with EcoFlow. But you know what I was thinking, especially as we're getting into the new year, we're always, thinking health, new me, new year. When you think of just the mental health aspect of doing what you said, which is just being ready, because, recently during those hurricanes, over on the East Coast, I think we had 20 plus tornadoes touch down, 6 of which touched down right by my family on the East Coast. They're saying, Justin, come over here, come over here. I was like, I've got everything I've got over here. I've got my EcoFlow. Right by them, 2 tornadoes went right in front of the street. You can't necessarily prepare for that. Right. But when the power goes out, you need to be ready. That's why we say, what's your plan? And you say, well, plan for what? Plan for the unknown. Plan for what we are not necessarily expecting, like we saw in North Carolina, what we're seeing in the north right now. People weren't expecting this giant Arctic blast and ice storm. And what we're seeing with the airlines, now people are stuck. Well, we saw recently, what was that, in PA, with all those people who were stuck on the highway in the middle of a blizzard. So just prepare yourself for anything. What's your plan A? What's your plan B? This has become that plan, that backup for so many thousands and thousands of you, just family members of us here at HSN, especially all the family at HSN here in the studio too.
Okay, so what I'd love you to do is, can you, since you're up close, Dustin, I'd love to really go and show all the outputs.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the ways you can charge it.
Yeah, this is one of the really cool things. I'll show the outlets right now. You do have roughly about 13 different outlets. I was talking about the AC ports. You'll notice we've got 6 of them, 3 of which are going to be your 3-prong, so you still have your grounded outlet right here. You've got your USBC and your USBA. These are actually upgraded USBC ports. So instead of roughly about 100 watts, you've got 140 watts of power with each individual USB-C. That means I can be powering 2 MacBook Pros at the same time. And your USB-A, so with all of your smaller electronics. Then right back here is going to be where our other outlets are. We do have that DC port too, and that kind of barrel ports, which is kind of for a lot of the different appliances for RVers. This orange port, this is where you're going to plug in your solar panel and where you're going to plug in your DC adapter. So while you're driving, you can actually be charging this solar.
Or if you're going to tailgate.
If you're tailgating, right. So in the back of a lot of cars now, they got the DC adapters right there. So while you got it, you can actually just go ahead and plug it in that way if you wanted to. Or right here, which is where you have it plugged into your wall, this is where it's really amazing. So our first version was roughly about an hour and a half, 0 to 100%.
To charge it.
To charge it. So when I plugged it in the AC wall outlet, 0 to 100% in over close to 2 hours. Then we were roughly a little over an hour, roughly about an hour and 10 minutes. With your Delta 3, 56 minutes from 0 to 100% by plugging it directly into the wall, which is why when we talked about conserving your gas with your generator, in less than an hour, instead of using all of the gas, I can charge my Delta 3 and then turn off my generator and conserve my gasoline. Now this big port right here, this is one of my favorite ports. When we think about gas tanks, especially even in a generator, we think, well, how many can we have? I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this aside. Can we just zoom out just slightly? Because I want you all to see this. If I wanted to double the power, but not double the price, if I wanted to double the length of time I can plug anything in, wouldn't it be nice to say, well, I wish I could just get an extra battery? That's exactly what this is. With one cable right here, I can daisy chain this to my Delta 3, and I can now double the amount of time that I can plug in anything right here. So that's 2 hours for a full-size microwave. 2 hours for a full-size microwave. That might be 30 hours for a full-size refrigerator. That's your lights and your fans. Everything now just doubled without doubling the price. I love that. It's simple and easy, and it stacks. You can actually expand this all the way from not just 2,000 watt hours, which is simply what this is, but up to 5,000 watt hours. So in fact, 5 times as much length of time that you can go ahead and be able to plug anything in with your Delta 3. So extremely impressive. The other thing too is, it's actually IP65 rated. It's the first time we've ever said that. So while we're using it in the kitchen, things get messy, things might spill. This is splash proof, it's dust proof, it's smoke proof. We've never done that before, but we do have that other really, really nice protective bag that you can get to where you can throw all of your different cables in there. And it's really just nice to go ahead and throw it on the trolley that way so all the cables stay organized right in one spot.
That's how we
and
have
keep
it
it
too.
clean.
Ours is all in one bag. We just keep it all together. Okay, we have the battery, guys. We have very few of the batteries left. I have less than 200 of that extra battery Justin just showed you. I know we popped the item number up. If you want the protection bag for the actual EcoFlow itself, we've got about 400 of those left. It's got extra little side pockets so you can put all your stuff. With the solar panel, you also get a protective cover for that. It comes with a handle. That's really handy. So now all of your power needs are ready to go. And when that emergency happens, boom, you're prepared. For me, it very, very much is an issue of peace of mind. Living down here, and I think living anywhere, because the weather is so unpredictable, you just don't know. You want peace of mind. Can I get fresh water? You bet. I've got systems at home that actually allow me to have fresh water. Do I have food backup? You bet. I bought it from HSN a couple years ago, so we've got food. We can hydrate with hot water now. And do I have power? So when the hurricanes were about to hit us, and we knew, we're just like, okay, this could be really, really bad, and it was horrific for so many people. We weren't the ones scrambling to try to get somebody to borrow their gas-generated power. Other of my friends had to do that. You know, we weren't the ones going, oh my gosh, our place is completely dark. It's the middle of the night. It's so scary. No, we had lights. And my husband, I was away because we were broadcasting up at our sister network. My husband was without power for 4 to 5 days. But guess what? He had the EcoFlow. So he did have lights. He did have a fan. While it was still hot, at least he was comfortable and he had the basic necessities because we had the EcoFlow here, which I love. All right, guys, so here's what we're doing. We have two choices, although this is your last and final chance to get it at this price. Please remember that at midnight tonight, it's going to go up to almost $1,200. Is to get the solar panel version, which is the EcoFlow, the solar panel, and you get the trolley. If you don't want the solar panel, it's okay. You can just get the EcoFlow with the trolley. That's available too. And before we take the break, VIP financing, if you want to pull out your HSN card, we have 12 and 18 months. You can pay it off in 12 or 18 months according to which version you're going to get, and we will charge you no extra interest. So boy, that's when I would pull out our HSN card and use it. If you don't have the card, you can get it right now. You can use it and save $25 off that first purchase as well. So definitely take advantage of it. When we come back, we're going to show you some other interesting applications that you might not have thought about before, even in a non-emergency. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Hey, but I want to talk about